Georgia, Georgia.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Herschel Talkers. This is episode 20. Can't believe we've made it this far. Also, please follow us on Herschel Talkers on Twitter, HerschelTalkers.com, and the Herschel Talkers on YouTube. Got a special guest again. Hopefully he comes on today. Brother from another mother, Nat Dogg, a.k.a. Jerome. His real name's...
We kind of struggled with, giving up some big bombs to Auburn, and then when you look at, the Kentucky game, I know the caliber of receiver is different, but, we bounced back and made some key turnovers and interceptions and played solid pass coverage. So, but it's no way necessarily to indicate that we'll beat Auburn, but I do think what you're really looking for after that Auburn loss and really going into this game is have we kind of improved in the areas where we struggled at against Auburn, and, so far it seems like we have, right?
Yeah, then looking at a summary of the overall year, I know we made all our predictions at the first of the year. I think yours was, looking at 11-1, 12-0. I was happy with 10-2 winning the East, and anything after that, just coming off that 8-5 disappointing year last year. But right now, for me,
this is the Mark Richt mentality.
Yeah, and I'm still not really a believer. We'll get into that here in a little bit against Auburn, but I'm kind of just enjoying the ride. I know that's like cliche, but 11-1 is just great. The future looks bright. Recruiting's great, and Kirby's definitely got us rolling, and I'm just, enjoying it. But, of course, it seems like just still got the Rick years in my mind. I'm still, scared each game, like we're going to come out flat. And oddly enough, he did his normal choke game, Miami going against, Pittsburgh, and they got, pretty much beat down or beat by, I think it's about 10 or 13, I forget. But yeah, that was a Mark Richt choke game. So I still got that in my head, but, just enjoying 11-1, heading in the right direction with a big matchup against Auburn. But I guess just getting your thoughts real quick, briefly, what did you think of the whole progression from, 8-5, Kirby first year to his second year? What really stood out?
Well, I think we kind of circled two big things at the beginning of the year that were going to make or break Georgia's season. I think the first one was, was that offensive line play going to improve? And the second thing was the quarterback play going to improve? As bad as that offense was last year, the defense actually was pretty respectable. So I think it was obvious that if you actually gave them some breathing room and an offense to compete, that defense was going to thrive. Georgia's kind of answered both of those key concerns resoundingly. The offensive line's been fantastic. I know that they had some issues in the Auburn game, but who hasn't, had issues with Auburn? And, Jake Fromm, you can't ask for more from a true freshman quarterback than what he's given you. He hasn't played like a true freshman by any means. He's been a fantastic leader. He just understands the offense. Has to get, freshman of the year, assuming that awards even exist, it ought to, just off of this year alone from him.
He actually got freshman SEC of the week his third time this year, so he got that this past week, which is, it's impressive.
No, it is. To me, it would be impressive to see who else has gotten that award when it hadn't been, Jake Fromm, because again, I think that, and it's not to disrespect, Jacob Eason, because again, when you're a true freshman quarterback, that's a big adjustment, and it's rare that you have somebody who can come in and just, operate an offense, like he's a junior or a senior. And Jake Fromm did that. And, the offensive line, too, you got to give them credit. Last year their pass coverage is absolutely atrocious. And they've been good in pass coverage. I know we're kind of a run-heavy team, but, we weren't able to really dominate in the run-blocking game last year either. And, you've got Nick Chubb with, over 1,000 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. You got Sonny Michel, who's 84 yards away from being a 1,000-yard rusher for the year and 13 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift's got over 500 yards. And just kind of goes on and on from there. But, I think, had arguably had the most dominant offensive line in the SEC. And so, you really got to contribute our success to the true freshman quarterback and that offensive line.
Yeah, and then also Sony became the third all-time leading rusher. He passed Todd Gurley, which is impressive. So Herschel Walker, number 1, of course, number 2, Nick Chubb, and number 3, Sonny Michel. So it shows that how great this senior class is, and having those 2 running backs, and they're just great face for the program, just great people, never really gotten in a lot of trouble or anything. So we're definitely going to miss those guys. And then transition into, so it's going to be the rematch. The revenge tour continues, if you can look at that, as cliche it is, but a big-time matchup coming off, 40-17 beatdown that we had 3 weeks ago. So what do you want to see this week? The big thing is Kerryon Johnson. Is he going to play? I'm putting him as, in fantasy football terms, questionable. He's got a bum shoulder, but what does Georgia need to do to get a different outcome? And then also Vegas has got it at -2.5 currently on ESPN, which is interesting. But
sure. So I mean, to me, the Auburn game was kind of. To me, was a perfect example of the difference between this year's Georgia team and last year's Georgia team, where offensively, we had issues not only, running the ball, but obviously in pass protection. I mean, Jeff Holland, Auburn's All-American defensive end, was just, he was just back there and just causing havoc. I think he sacked Fromm at least once, maybe twice, and certainly rushed him all night long to where he really kind of negated the effectiveness of our pass offense. And then run blocking, Auburn did a great job of just kind of dominating the interior of that line, which is kind of the first time we've really been, challenged like that since last year. Interestingly, our offense, our defense actually really held their own through the first half. And then in the second half, obviously, when, it's just, after a while, it's just a matter of time. And then you start missing tackles and, fatigue will make a coward of you. And we missed a ton of tackles on Kerryon Johnson. We particularly rushed the quarterback well, but we were on the field a lot as well. It's hard to stay fresh. So I think in this game, obviously Thomas, our true frosh right tackle, who I think is, played, as well as Jake Fromm has, in all honesty, and has played as big a role in shoring up that offensive line as anybody has. He's going to have his hands full with Jeff Holland again, but I think that he's obviously got to do a better job than what he did. Realistically, I think our best shot to really kind of change some things is we've got to get more push on as far as the interior offensive line goes. We've got to be able to open up some holes and really kind of hold those interior linemen in check a little bit more, because I think if we can do that, it does 2 things. Obviously, it opens up our interior running game. But the other thing it does as well is I think that it gives Jake Fromm some place to step into if Holland's coming around the end, so we can step in and make a big throw. On the defensive side of the ball, I think it's kind of just fundamentals. We missed a lot of tackles on Kerryon Johnson. I think regardless of who's out there, we've got to do that. I think you need Lorenzo Carter and Delvin Bellamy to actually step up. And, kind of put some pressure on Auburn's quarterback. There were times in that game against us where he was just sitting back there.
Yeah.
And so I think that, and I think in all honesty, there's nothing really about Auburn's offensive tackles that leads me to believe that they have the major advantage there. I would definitely say, and no disrespect to DeAndre Thomas or anything, but Jeff Holland's probably the best defensive end in all of football. So getting beat by a guy like that, you don't necessarily need to hang your head on that. That guy's just an amazing football player. But with that said, the one thing we don't need to do is, or the one thing I think we clearly can do is we should be able to put together a more consistent and effective pass rush than we did the first go round. The other thing too is that there were a lot of missed tackles on defense, as I said earlier, and so the thing is Kerryon Johnson's an amazing talent without question, but so's Roquan Smith, so's Trent Thompson, so's Tyler Clark. There's a lot of talent on that Georgia defense. You don't need to be giving that guy second and third opportunities to make plays. Like once you put a hat on a hat and put them in the ground.
Yeah.
So I think if you can kind of do those 2 things, on defense, put a pass rush together, and actually not missing tackles, that slows that Auburn offense down a good bit. And then on the offensive side, I think you just got to kind of man up and just put a hat on a hat and push them back some. And I think if you can do that, over time you're going to start to wear out that Auburn defensive line some. Again, you might not be able to do a whole lot with Jeff Holland out there. That kind of is what it is. But if you can wear out the rest of that defensive line, you got a fighting shot.
Yeah, I think
the other thing too is I think this is a Georgia team that's got a lot of pride, and I think the way that Auburn handled it at the end, in terms of calling some of those timeouts and doing some of that ticky-tack, Mickey Mouse stuff, you may not hear about it a whole lot in the media, but I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff that's kind of brought up a good bit, and I think it clearly bothered Kirby as well. So, I think this is a game he's probably got circled. I think that team, being as prideful as they are, has got it circled. And so I think there's a little bit more of an edge here from a motivational standpoint than there may have been in the first game. I thought we came out and played completely flat the first time and just I think it was, we just didn't have the same edge and drive that we had in any other game this year. And I guess that's going to happen from time to time. But, I think in light of what happened, I think this is one where Georgia's, they did so much wrong. The sky's kind of the limit in terms of their ability to improve and learn from it.
Yeah, I think some other deciding factors, just looking at everything, is neutral site, which is going to be big because Jordan Hare, whatever it pronounces, it's a really tough place to play. I mean, that place was rocking. I mean, look, Bama played their worst game this year. You could penalties and fumbles and just undisciplined. You can tell Saban was having a meltdown. I think that crowd, and it was a tough place to play, it had a big factor. And another thing is, we did come in big target on back. We were number one. Maybe we were kind of reading into our bulletin board material a little too much. So I think we're going to come back. Hard to beat a team twice, neutral site. Another thing is Kirby Smart has been in the SEC championship game 6 times in his career, been part of 4 national titles. So he's been there before. So him, game preparation and being there, it's kind of like when he wasn't in Atlanta, it was weird, is going to be important. And, Gus has been part of 2 of them, so he does have experience. And he has been in a national title a couple years ago, back in 2013. So I just think having Kirby Smart's experience, he's been here before. Revenge factor is going to be big. And these seniors, you can tell, they came back for this. They came back for the revenge tour. And I think they're going to really get these guys up. And, kind of like old school, being on high school, being out on the, being out in the yard or whatever, somebody punches you in the face, gives you a beat down, and you come back and he says, hey, come get some the second time. It's hard to beat a guy twice, so I just think they're going to get up for it. I'm not saying we're going to win or blow them out, but it's going to be a lot closer this time. So,
well, and I think that the other thing, too, and I kind of mentioned at the end, was I felt like in that first go-around, we were very flat. And it just looked like, and I had told you before, although I was not, wasn't able to be on the podcast with you, but off, air, the one thing I had expressed concern about was the fact that
you didn't have a good feeling either.
We had already wrapped up the SEC East, and so it's kind of a little bit different if the SEC East, I think, is still up for grab, and it gives that game a little bit more meaning. I get that it's a Deep South oldest rivalry, but let's be honest, Georgia had won, even as dismal as they were last year. Had managed to beat them and had won 9 out of 11 at that point.
10 out of 12, yeah.
Yeah, 9 out of 12, and so again, they just did not seem to play with the same level of focus and energy that they had. So I think the big thing that Kirby's probably get through to them is just control kind of what you can control. Just don't give up, don't miss tackles. Don't give up stupid penalties. Because that's another one that killed us too. Is that diving or whatever it was on the punt.
Leaping.
Just kind of don't beat yourselves. And had they played that way the first go around, is there a guarantee that we win? No, there's definitely not. We still could have lost that game, but I don't think us at our best is losing to Auburn 40-17 or whatever it was.
40-17, yeah.
Yeah, so again, I think that the other thing too is this is Nick Chubb and Sony Michel's, Lorenzo Carter, Delvin Bellamy. This is their senior year. And so they made much about before the Florida game about how they basically gotten blanked. I think they even met with Jim Chaney after the game last year. Because Auburn can certainly win this game, but I'm going to say Georgia wins this one 31-20.
Wow, you like it? All right. 31-20, I like that. Yeah, I'm going to go mine a little closer. Of course, I'm going to go with Georgia. I'm going to say 28-24. It's going to go down to the wire, and hopefully we'll pull this one out and win the SEC championship game and head on to the playoffs. We had Nate Dogg jumped on with us. Nate Dogg, a.k.a. Jerome. Patrick, give us your thoughts on Georgia-Auburn, and does Georgia have a chance this weekend in the rematch?
Of course, Georgia has a chance. I just think it's very difficult to beat a team twice.
Yes, sir.
And especially like a team that like Georgia that will have a chip on their shoulder, number one ranked team in the nation, and then they lost pretty handily to their second arch rival in Auburn, or third, depending on how you feel about Tech. But I think the game will be close. But what's the news on Kerryon Johnson? Is he going to be able to play this weekend?
I'm going to say fantasy football wise, he's questionable. I think that he's maybe tried to practice, but he's definitely not going to be 100%. I bet he's going to try to go. He missed 2 games early with a hamstring injury. But I think it's one of these, hey, this is a fight that if you're a Georgia guy, man, hey, throw a little elbow, throw a little jab in there, maybe even a late hit, try to get him out of there. I know that's kind of dirty, but hey, this is a fight. So, yeah, he's questionable from what I've been hearing.
I mean, although their defense has been balling like the last few weeks,
yep. Neutral site's
depending on the status of him, if he's really not 100%, I mean, he's obviously not going to be 100% for the game. But like, if his injury is really going to hamper him into the game, like I really like Georgia's chances.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to Jake Fromm. So, give us a little quick prediction if you had to pick one. Gun to your head.
This is if he's really as hurt as they say he is. I'm going to go Georgia in a close one, 27-24.
Nice, I like that.
But if he's going to be able to go, he's ready. I don't know. I feel like Auburn. I like Auburn as a favorite just because the way how their offense is. It starts at their running back, then to their quarterback.
Right. Gotcha. All right, and then let's roll into the ACC championship game because it is in Charlotte. And another cool thing is game day is going to be in Charlotte. That point spread is Clemson minus 8.5 against Miami the U. Mark Richt coming off one of his choke games he's infamous for. So you can get your thoughts on that. That's the other big conference championship just because it is in Charlotte. Hey, another thing, Nate Dogg, you going to try to make an appearance there? Hey, game day in Charlotte's kind of rare. Put up a sign.
I would love to go to that.
I think it's free. You can show up there with a sign. I don't think there's a charge.
Oh, game day. Game day is going to be at the ACC championship.
Yeah. Wonder where they're going to. Have you heard of where they're setting up at?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was at the Epicenter.
Really? Okay. You think they'd be one of those?
I don't know where it is, but that's where like that's where the championship game headquarters is usually at, like the central location where all the stuff is at.
You think they would would that be big enough for them, people putting up the signs and everything? You know, game days, they get over it. Okay.
Yeah, if some Washington State alum wants me to give me their flag, I'll fly it for them.
There you go. Hey, I want to put up, we'll talk about later, Tennessee Volunteers. Be like, hey, blame Dooley, keep Lyle. Have that like sign up or something? I don't know. Anyway, roll into, so it's going to be probably in a couple hours, I guess an hour or so, it's going to be college football playoff rankings. Give me, start with you, Sean. Give me your top 5, what you think in your personally it should be as of right now. Is he there? You lose him? Hey there. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. Give us your college football ranking top 5 as of now. Your opinion.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say Clemson number 1.
Okay.
I guess. Well, after that, I guess maybe Georgia number 2.
Come on, man. Really?
But here's why. Follow me through on this. Right?
Georgia?
Yeah, I'm going to say Georgia number 2.
We're talking about it as of right now, like tonight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but here's like what I'm thinking it should be. Like Clemson number 1.
All right.
I'm going to go Georgia number 2.
Mm.
Because even though we both lost to both us and Alabama lost to Auburn, we're coming off of 2 straight wins, so that's got to count for something. I feel like maybe Bama number 3, Miami number 4, number 5 is Auburn, 6. I guess you got to throw Wisconsin in there until they get beat. So I guess maybe it's Wisconsin. I guess go Clemson 1, Wisconsin 2, Georgia, Alabama, Miami 3, 4, 5, I guess, and then Auburn.
All right, hey, whatever you're smoking, pass it over to me, because man, you're way out on left field. I know that's your opinion. Here's my 5. I'll probably go with the majority or the media here. I got Clemson 1, got Baker Mayfield holding my nuts number 2, Heisman Trophy. Number 3, I like Wisconsin because they're the only team that's left is 12-0. I know its strength of schedule is really bad, but if they punch Ohio State in the mouth, which I hope they do, because rumor is they still got Ohio State, which I don't even think needs to be even in the conversation. First off, you got blown out by Oklahoma, which is ranked number 2, and you got blown out by, I think, 31 against Iowa, who's not even ranked. So I don't even want to hear any of this Buckeye talk. You struggled to beat an average Michigan team. So anyway, number 3, Wisconsin. I think number 4 is Auburn. Number 5 is Alabama. And then, of course, I love Georgia is number 6. And I got Miami at 7. And that's my opinion. But
you can't have Auburn over, with 2 losses over somebody with 1 in the same conference.
But
sorry.
You just break 2 out of 3 weeks. You just beat the number 1 team, the current number 1 team in the nation. So I think you got to give them some love on that.
Yeah, but it's over, regardless of how hot they've been of late, it's about the entire year.
Yeah. I just think they're the hottest team currently. Hopefully we'll punch them in the mouth. Hey, that's my opinion.
That's not what the playoffs are, dude.
Yeah. All right, what's your thoughts, Nate Dogg? What's your top 4 or 5?
Number 1, I'm going to go with Oklahoma because I think the media's in love with them, even with what Baker Mayfield did at Kansas. But he's obviously the Heisman favorite, so I'm going to go number 1 with them. Right. Number 2, I'm going to go with Auburn. I know they have 2 losses, but they're the hot team of late, and then I think they're also getting kind of some what's the word I'm looking for? Not sympathy, but they're trying to get justification for those 2 losses. Like they lost a 20-point lead to LSU on the road, and then they lost to Clemson early in the season, which Clemson's obviously a top 4 team in the country. So I think they're going to give them a pass with those 2 losses and playing really good right now. They beat 2 number 1 teams on the way to the SEC championship game. So that's where I'm going to put them number 2, just because I feel like that's what the media is thinking right now. 3, I'm going to go with Clemson, national champions from last year. They're obviously the favorite in the ACC title game, just 1 loss. All right. 4, I'm going to go with Wisconsin because even though they're undefeated right now, they're going to get penalized for their strength of schedule.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'll say 5 is Alabama, just because Bama.
All right.
They're going to look for if any kind of weird things happen this weekend. I'm sure the committee's going to look for a way to get them in the playoff.
And here's my thing.
Good.
You could sit there and try and justify a loss no matter how you want it. Auburn still lost a 20-point lead to a crappy LSU team. Mm-hmm. So I don't care how you try to slice that chicken shit. It's still chicken shit.
Yeah.
Honestly. And so this idea that they should be above Wisconsin is just absurd to me. And the idea that they should be above Alabama or Georgia, who I get they beat, is still absurd to me. So what? Yeah, you beat them, but the thing is we didn't lose to, an unranked team like that. Yeah, they've been hot of late, great, but it's still about the body of the work. If it doesn't matter what you do until the end, why bother to play all the games?
Yeah. I don't know. I think this is how the committee feels, and they're really going to use at least part of the decision is with the eye test.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you're probably right. Here's the thing, though. Assuming Wisconsin beats Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, though, you got to let them in. You got to put them in the top 4, right?
Yeah, they're in regardless. If they win, they're in it regardless. If they win out.
All right. In your opinion of the conference championship games, you guys give me your picks. So does Miami have a shot against Clemson, and then who you like in Wisconsin, Ohio State? Because that's pretty much going to be the deal breakers this weekend.
Well, first of all, we're going to talk about teams with 2 losses that are really hot of late. Granted, I know the wins aren't as impressive as beating Georgia and Alabama, but Ohio State's been hot of late. Our friend Scott, who's an Ohio State alumni, said it's interesting that Ohio State tends to do better, offensively when they've got a backup quarterback to compete with J.T. Barrett. And, they've got a true freshman quarterback. His name escapes me, but 4-star out of Maryland, he looked damn good against Illinois, and then played against Michigan this past week with J.T. Barrett got hurt and led him to victory. So they've been hot. It looks like their defense is starting to come together as well. But first of all, I want to agree with both of you guys that Auburn is getting hot at the right time of the year. I think Ohio State is as well. And so I think that they're probably going to beat Wisconsin by like 17 to 20 points, honestly. I mean, they look like they're a team on a mission. That might not be enough at this stage of the game to put them into the playoffs, but certainly go into next year, barring anything else. They'd certainly be in my top 4.
Yeah, and I think Wisconsin's got the defense to beat them, but the offense with that quarterback, he throws a lot of picks. A left-handed kid, his name escapes me as well, but I hate to say probably.
Was it Hornibrook?
Yeah, and Ohio State's actually favored too on the spread. I think it's like -3. So yeah, I probably have to go with Ohio State, but I'm pulling for Wisconsin just to shut them up. But I'd hate for Ohio State to slide in the back door. And they got blown out last year. They got blanked by Clemson, so I don't really want them in there.
No, sure.
Who's your pick, Nate Dogg?
I'm gonna go with Wisconsin just for the sake of if Ohio State win, there's gonna be a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
Because then Alabama's going to have an argument, even though their schedule is kind of weak this year. But that Iowa loss that they had early it was kind of recent, a few weeks ago, where they lost by double digits. Alabama, well, you're going to have a lot of people say Alabama won't lose a game like that because they haven't.
Actually, six and a half.
You want to know what? It potentially turns into karma for Ohio State, too. Because Ohio State didn't win the Big Ten last year, but still ended up in playoffs, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, actually that spread's 6.5 now. Now I'm looking at, wow. All right, and then looking at the one in Charlotte ACC championship game, Clemson has jumped up. I think it started out originally about 7.5 or 8. It's 9.5. Do you think Mark Richt and the U turnover chain has got a shot, or they can get blown out?
Blown out?
They can get blown out against
Who? Clemson or Miami?
You think Miami will get blown out coming off a bad loss last week against Pittsburgh? You think they get up?
I don't think they'll get blown out. That defense is still pretty opportunistic, and that line's still stout. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys are Georgia fans. At some point there's going to be a letdown game for Rick.
That was last week,
and that happened to be last week when. Yeah. I mean, they already pretty much had clinched the ACC championship, but I don't know if they just lost focus, they just had too much to eat for Thanksgiving or what.
Yeah.
I just feel that I think they can beat Clemson, but the key is if Rozier completes over 50% of his passes, I think they win. Yeah. But which Rozier are you getting? Are you getting the good Malik Rozier or the bad Malik Rozier? We don't know who's going to show up. It's going to be a little chilly around here. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you saw what happened in Pittsburgh last week, so I mean, it's just. Rozier is so Jekyll and Hyde. He kind of reminds me of like a poor man's Cam Newton. You just don't know which guy you're going to get that week.
Poor man's Cam Newton. Hey, and Mark Richt and his conservative play calling. Yeah, I see Miami probably hanging with him in the first half, but I see Clemson and that defense wearing them out. That defensive line's nasty. Say it beating them like 31-17, 31-21, something like that. What do you think, Sean? Think Rick's got a shot, or just dabba-dabba-doo all day? Sean? Is he there? Sean, give us your prediction on Miami Mark Richt, your favorite coach against Clemson. Give us your thoughts. What's your pick?
So, honestly, I think this is Clemson all day, every day. Here's why. First of all, when you're talking about, a quarterback in terms of being Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and which quarterback's going to show up, that shouldn't give you a whole lot of confidence going into, the game, especially against the defense as straight as Clemson. Because I think Clemson's got the most dominant defensive line in college football. Mm-hmm. So when you're having to rely on something like that, that shouldn't really give you a great feeling. The other thing to me is that Mark Richt has never really taken a team and said, why not us? I mean, normally he does this work when he's got a talent advantage. Whenever he's had a talent disadvantage, his teams have always kind of, shrunk into the occasion and played below average. Or played like the lesser team. So I think that's what you're going to get again. I think that Clemson probably wins by 14 to 17 points.
Yeah. I can see that.
Maybe closer. It might be 10 points.
Yeah, I think the only way Miami has got to get the turnover chain, they need like a pick six, fumble for a touchdown, something like that. Defense has got to keep it into them. But, I think.
Yeah, you need Clemson to have a bad. You basically need Clemson to have a bad offensive day for you to have a shot at this thing.
Yeah, I agree. So it should be interesting. Like Nate Dogg said, a little nippy. I think it's like high 56, maybe in the 30s. That might tell it's all being a night game, but should be interesting. All right, we're going to roll in and talk about Nate Dogg's favorite. That's why we brought him on, coaching rumors. And we got some shit shows going. And got the footballscoop.com. I guess that's one. So a bunch of firings. Let's go ahead and jump on the one that everybody's talking about. Tennessee Voluntards fired Butch Jones a couple weeks back, and they had Greg Schiano supposedly had an offer was out there, package deal, and then the whole social media. Greg Schiano, right?
That's Greg Schiano. Trey?
Schiano?
Hey, it's actually pronounced Greg Schiano, not Schiano.
Okay, Schiano. Thank you, Sean.
Well, I don't want you looking like an idiot on the air.
Thanks, man. All right, so they gave him a package deal, and then everybody just started having a meltdown all over social media, and they're calling Curry. Is it Jeff Curry? Is that his name? Greg Curry? B-A-D.
I just call him
Nate Dogg?
Big Orange Leader. Let's just call him Big Orange Leader. That's who they contacted.
Yeah. Anyway, they started meltdown and bitching, and now they've got all kind of names out there. So here's some names I was going to throw out to you, and then get some thoughts. This is what I heard as of today. I listened to some podcasts. So as of yesterday, David Cutcliffe got reached out to.
Again?
Yeah, and he said
How many times he tells him he doesn't want that job? He's fine that dude.
He turned it down. Hey, another name? T Martin from USC.
I think at this point,
T Martin.
That's probably the only guy that wants that job right now.
Here's the thing: his wife's like some big time. I don't know if she's like on television or media, but she's big time in like LA. So that's the reason why he's at USC. So they're talking about it'd be a big deal talking her to all the way back to Knoxville. So I don't know how it's, how it is. Happy wife, happy life. That could be bad. So I'm not hurt, but I mean they throw a bunch of money at him. And then, hey, Nate Dogg's gonna love this. I heard Lane Kiffin's name is in there, and he said he would take it.
Yes, back from the dead.
And then the one that just popped up is really interesting. Just popped up. Hey, the mullet might be in town. Gundy's name came up today.
What?
The AD
Why
reached
would
out
he
to
go
him.
there when he had T-Boone Pickens in his back pocket?
Exactly. So anyway, there it is. That's the names that are all heard.
Well, why would you leave?
Mike Gundy's solid though.
Like he's got the best gig in college football. They're perfectly happy going 8-4, 9-3 every year.
Yeah, just 8-4, 9-3, and occasionally like beating Oklahoma. Yeah, they'll be satisfied with that. Occasional top 10 ranking.
Yeah.
T-Boone Pickens money. Well, I mean, go to Tennessee. Like I think last week in the group chat, I said Florida's probably the most difficult job in America. Yeah. Well, I've been seeing what this shit show that happened in Tennessee. They might be the most delusional fan base in the country right now.
Yeah, Sean was talking.
Florida's definitely the most difficult job in the country. It's Alabama, but Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's just delusional. They got to realize it's not the 90s anymore. Like, well, here's the thing. If Tennessee's smart, right, which they're clearly not, they're a very idiotic fan base, and obviously they got even bigger idiots running that program.
Yeah.
The guy that they should go ahead and hire, I don't care that he just got fired, is Kevin Sumlin. Here's why. Like, you know, it's probably not as been, talked about as much on our podcast, but Tennessee actually quietly got the number one player in last year's class, who was an offensive tackle. I think his name is Richmond. You know that they just had decommit a Tennessee legacy, another 5-star offensive tackle, Cade Mays. You've also currently got on campus your quarterback's kind of he doesn't have the greatest arm, but he's a scrambler, kind of improvs pretty well. So you bring in Kevin Sumlin.
Guantanamo Bay? That's what I call him.
Really, when he had his best success is when he had some great offensive line, a quarterback that could scramble. Now, let's be honest, like, he can recruit, too. So Tennessee's goal really needs to be, can we get a guy who can recruit pretty well, get some good talent in here, get us consistently 8 wins a year? The East is exponentially easier to win in the SEC West, is without question. I mean, you're probably taking an L to Georgia every year. But
I don't know. The tide's kind of flipping now.
Not really. Like, you may think
your boy
that,
Muschamp in South Carolina's gotten kind of making them look a little better now.
8-4. They just got killed by Clemson.
No. Like, the only reason they look good with Muschamp is because the East is toilet shit. Period. That's the only reason he looks good. Other than that, he's the same doofus he always was.
Hey, you know how bad the East is? The East hadn't won against the West since 2008 with Tim Tebow. Isn't that bad? That's the last time the East.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know. Mississippi State gets a little bit weaker. You don't know what Texas A&M is going to do. Arkansas, you don't know what they're going to do. Ole Miss, they'll probably just be back to 6-6.
Arkansas is never really going to be a factor in this equation anyway. Like, it's all about Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Texas A&M. One of the Mississippi schools is probably going to be like the wild card in there. But those are your really Power 4 in the West, right? In the East, it's Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and really that's it. Everybody else is kind of crap. I guess maybe you could throw South Carolina in there because they're kind of had some nouveau-esque success or whatever. But, I mean, Georgia pretty much handled the East this year, and we didn't play close game. I mean, what was the closest one we had? Like 14 points?
This was the most, I think, more than 14 points beat down since 2002 or something, I forget.
And I'll be honest with you, when we only beat South Carolina by 14 points, I kind of wanted to concur beyond there for a minute because it should have been like a 20-point beatdown, honestly, 24-point beatdown.
Jeez, man. Anyway.
Sarcasm.
I know. All right, so back to it. All right, so Sean likes Sumlin to Tennessee. Nate Dogg, if you were the AD,
what he can do.
Who do you like at Tennessee?
He's going to have those 2 good offensive tackles. He's got a scrambling quarterback that will be able to recruit some wide receivers. The East is bad. You're probably going to be able to get 8 wins a year.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you want. Like, you're kind of like the woman that just got divorced that's really overweight. You kind of need to go train a little bit, maybe wait till your kids are like teenagers before you get back in the dating market and they're desirable again. That's kind of where you're at right now.
Wow.
What if her face is busted?
Honestly, like...
You might need a little bit more cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing right now. They need to do whatever they can to make their program look like more than dysfunctional hillbillies that are just drinking moonshine all day and are swearing John Gruden's coming. Clearly, he wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole either.
John Gruden. So who would you pick, Nate Dogg, if you were the AD?
I don't know who you can pick now because honestly, them reaching out to Greg Schiano, is that right, Sean? Schiano?
Yeah.
I'm about to say Schiano.
But it's Schiano.
Basically, they think he's a pedophile from Penn State. Is what it's looking like. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since they reached out to him, this tells me where that program is at.
Yep.
And they settled on him. I know the big thing was they thought they were going.
Oh, no. That doesn't tell you where the program's at. It tells you how dysfunctional their ADs are. Because if you want to look at another name that maybe you look at, why don't you look at Mike Norville at Memphis? Now, granted, he's kind of the second. He's kind of the bridesmaid amongst the mid-major coaches that are doing well, Scott Frost. But dude, that's your own fucking state. How are you not giving him?
I think
how
they're
hard
kind
it
of
is not to
scared.
notice that Memphis 15?
I think they're
What are
kind
they
of scared
afraid of?
off
Getting
by
heartbroken
that.
again?
Let's go with a outside of a Power 5 coach. After what happened with Dooley hire was just kind of like they're just grasping for something after Lane Kiffin just left them in the dust. And then they tried it again with Butch Jones doing the Cincinnati. That exactly worked out for them. So that maybe they want someone with a little more experience there. I mean, I don't know what the thinking was behind this, but I just think the whole thing was hilarious because they bring up the whole Penn State issue as a way to get him out of there. But, I mean, the really reason was it wasn't a sexy name.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sexy name.
Well, I mean, and let's be honest, there are better names out there. I mean, it's kind of sad when your fan base is more intelligent than people running the program. Because I'll give it to Tennessee fans. Like, that was a solid call. Like, I don't know the whole pedophile thing. If Georgia fans would have had balls to do that, I mean, maybe in desperation we would have. But, like, honestly, like,
They found a trump card.
Last person. That is the last person. That guy should be, like, 20th on your list. Let's be honest. Like, there are clearly a multitude of names.
I mean, the guy had
3 or 4, like, there are 3 or 4 assistants in, like, the SEC that probably ought to get a call ahead of, like, Greg Schiano, being honest.
I mean, the guy did a great job at Rutgers. He had Rutgers looking respectable. I mean, what's the only thing Rutgers athletics is known for? Women's basketball.
They won, like, what did they win, like, 10 games once?
But it's Rutgers.
You won 10 games once. Like that's your thing. Boise State was Boise State. Chris Peterson, like, made them a contender. You know what I mean? Like, I don't buy that. Like, you're living off of a guy that's just. You want to know what that was? He got a lot of hype because he was defensive coordinator with the whole youth thing going on. They're like, oh yeah, like, this guy knows something or whatever. Not really.
I think Miami and another school last year had offered and gave him an offer. He turned them down, which is kind of funny.
Well, I mean, we know why he turned down Miami. We know why he turned down Miami. They're poor.
I mean, they lucked out with Rick.
If you're going to go there and put up with people calling you a pedophile, you might as well at least be making like $4 million a year as opposed to, 2.5 and like a lifetime supply of oranges and tangerines, I guess,
Who knows? Maybe that guy, he might have been the guy that could have turned them around. I mean, he could have had a great second, or actually third act, because he kind of was a bust with Tampa. But,
yeah.
I mean, hey, Pete Carroll was deemed as a terrible coach until he got to USC, probably about his, second, third year?
All right.
I don't know. I mean, like, to me, I remember Pete Carroll. Like, I mean, he always got the Patriots to play pretty hard. He just never really had much,
He burned out with the Jets. I think he had, 1 year with the Jets, and he went 6-10. And then, he was there. He was USC's 5th choice, and they were all pretty pissed off about it.
All right, another one. Sorry to interrupt. We're going to jump right. The other big rumor that actually happened in the last day or two. Going to get your thoughts. So Jimbo Fisher to Texas A&M, and why would he leave Florida State? I know he's not happy there, but
I know they say he's.
Wait a minute, did he actually take that job?
No, it's rumored they're talking to him.
I know they say he has issues with administration, but there's going to have to be some big name booster or boosters at Texas A&M is going to have to pay off that hefty buyout.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but his issues with the administration are the fact that he reads on 10th grade level.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
what?
Unless you're willing to look. Well, that's what it is. I mean, think about it. The guy goes by Jimbo. He's from Bumblefuck, West Virginia. He looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on,
Hey, here's
that guy.
Here's breaking news. Just throw it at you. Here's the top 4 on ESPN. They just announced it. Number 1's Clemson. Number 2 is Auburn. Number 3, Oklahoma. Number 4, Wisconsin.
Well, I was right. Just wrong order.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Nat Dogg.
So if you were Jimbo, though, you want to get out of Florida State, probably got the whole, divorce.
No, you don't want to get out of Florida State.
Why would you leave Florida State for Texas A&M? I don't.
It's Texas. It's a fertile state.
Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Well, here's the thing, now. Texas A&M has infinite more money than Florida State does. I mean, but then again, Ole Miss is probably competitive with Florida State from a money standpoint. Florida State's a poor school. But here's the thing that you're never going to – that it's going to be hard to replace is the fact that you've got an entire government body that clearly is in on turning a blind eye to player infractions if it means you're good at football. You're not going to find that anyplace else. And clearly, like, Jimbo really doesn't care either. Otherwise, you would have kicked him off the team. I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't see them being kosher like that in College Station. You know, it's a military town. Probably a lot of Bush votes there. I just don't think you're going to be able to get away with the same level of crap. Really, all Jimbo needs to do, because he's already got a really talented team in Florida State anyway, is fire your defensive coordinator, you know, hire somebody good, and then you should be rolling again. That's a simple thing.
I know there's some issues the fan base have with the play calling on offense, where he should just be more of a CO type instead of having his hands on.
But he's always called his own plays. I mean, what do you want him to be, Randy Sanders? Like, Randy Sanders' greatest contribution to college football is he got Philip Fulmer fired from Tennessee.
And there's also, like, I know Florida State fans have an issue with they want him to run more of a modern offense.
What the fuck does that mean? The guy's always run like 3 wide receiver sets.
Dual threat?
I don't know. Just from what I've seen from Florida State fans, they're like, if he leaves, fine. If he stays, fine. Just stop, like, teasing him with, like, flirting with leaving for other jobs.
Yeah. There was LSU last year. All right.
My thing is this. Like, Florida State fans will shut up and be happy once they start getting, like, 11 to 10, like 11, 12 wins again. That'll happen once he gets a defensive coordinator in place, honestly. So maybe what you ought to do is, why don't you give Homeboy a call at South Carolina and say, hey, would you like a sizable bonus or increase in pay and to get the fuck out of Columbia, South Carolina? Here you go.
Muschamp?
No. I guess the defensive coordinator there.
All right. All right, and then the other.
Hire Charlie Strong, DC.
What?
Charlie Strong.
Oh, wait. As head coach?
He's happy in South.
It's Florida State's DC.
Why would he leave South Florida for?
Not Charlie Strong. Charlie Strong's DC.
Oh, Charlie Strong. Okay. About to say.
All right, and then the other big one, one of Nate Dogg's favorite rumored guys, he finally got a place. Chip Kelly to UCLA, replacing Jim Mora. Easy way out.
The more I thought about it, that place is perfect for Chip Kelly.
West Coast guy.
They got that underarm money. I think the largest contract from a shoe company in sports, college sports. If they win 8-9 games a year, they're happy. And if they occasionally beat USC, and then we all know that he doesn't really like to recruit.
Yeah.
So he can when he was at Oregon, when he was at Oregon, he pretty much recruited California and Texas. So he can actually kind of just stay at home in California and not have to go far and get kids. And have to, like, convince them to come to, like, this very place that's way out from when they're normally from. So,
yeah, I think that it's a perfect job. And again, you know, as much as I'll bash Florida, like, Florida's a great job, but it takes a certain coach to just go in there and be ready to handle those expectations. For better or worse, like, all the hardware that Spurrier and Urban Meyer brought there also, you know, created, just exponential expectations. If you can get, UCLA is kind of comparable to the state with a lot of talent as well. If you can get the same money for lower expectations, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. And then the other big one is it's probably one of the safest you can get. Dan Mullen to Florida. Place of Jim McElwain, Swamp Donkey.
That was a smart call. Like, here's why. Because, at Florida, I think Florida's smart enough to understand that Nick Saban's, Urban Meyer's, Steve Spurrier's don't grow on trees. And so, you might not be able to get one every time you're in the coaching market. You just can't. So, I mean, you look at what Dan Mullen's done. He's made, Mississippi State competitive. I mean, They're typically 8-4 to 10-2. That's kind of the type of team that they are. In Mississippi State, where not only even the state of Mississippi, where you've got money issues and funding issues and racism issues, but like you're the stepsister in Mississippi as well, Ole Miss. And so if you can make a program like that competitive, it really, it should translate relatively easily to Florida, honestly. And again, the SEC East is an easier conference, or it's an easier division. I mean, you got Georgia. I think it's clearly the front runner. But after that, I mean, you should be able to beat up on Tennessee. South Carolina, all honesty and jokes aside, they'll play you tough. But other than that, I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't be competing for the East every year with that guy. And, I mean, is he on the same level as Urban Meyer or Nick Saban? No. But, again, kind of remember where you've been versus, where you want to be and understand that you may not be able to get to point Z right away, but if you got a guy that at least gets you halfway up the alphabet, you're making progress. That's probably something Tennessee should learn. In addition to putting down the moonshine before they decide to call somebody to offer him a job like Greg Schiano.
I love how you say Tennesseers drink a lot of moonshine like they don't in Georgia.
We don't.
There's
we
not.
Drink a lot of.
There's Knoxville
Drink a lot of
hillbillies.
bourbon, a lot of.
We drink moonshine in North Carolina too. You know that, right?
Yeah. Hey, it's Knoxville hillbillies up there, man. I went to football camp. There's not much up there. Meet a girl with all the teeth.
Sexually
special.
Assaulted as well.
No, I didn't.
Did one of those hillbillies try to get a little personal with you?
Maybe a little reach around.
This is hilarious. A Georgia boy put his nose up at Knoxville hillbillies.
Yeah, I did, man. That's where my little known fact is. I got to warm up with Phillip Rivers there, and they were making fun of his release. We saw where that got him, doing great things in San Diego Chargers. Hey, good dude. 8 kids later.
That's right.
He went to NC State. All right, so rapid fire here. There's 15 spots open as of November 26th in the coaching rumors. Now there's 11, and there's 4 left in the SEC. I was going to get your thoughts on who should go where. So you got Arkansas, Mississippi State still open, Texas A&M still open, of course Tennessee. So who should these programs look at getting?
I wish one of these programs would be like, I don't give a damn. I don't care what the backlash should be, and go out there and get Daddy Browse.
Wow. Yeah, he's kind of under the radar, man. Has everybody forgotten about it? It's about 2 years later.
No, they haven't forgotten about him. He's just radioactive. I mean, there's this Canadian football league team that's supposed to bring him in.
That he had nothing. Well, didn't they ultimately prove that he had nothing to do with it though as well?
Yeah, but his name is still he's still like, I don't know. He can try to Rick Pitino his way out of it, but his name, that was his program. So I mean, the backlash that he would get if he was hired somewhere, it's not going to be good. I mean, there's a Canadian football team that tried to get him as offensive coordinator. There's backlash from that, so they stayed away from it. I mean, I would love to see somebody give him another shot, or even his son, Kendall. Well,
now that we've got
kind of the fuckery would be interesting with that.
All right. Well, now that we've gone through Patrick's fantasy, I guess now we can get back to tangibly realistic options, perhaps. Here's the thing. I think a name that's forgotten about because Florida passed on him to go, Dan Mullen is, Scott Frost, right? I think the foregone conclusion is Scott Frost is going to Nebraska. If I'm Texas A&M, I'm calling Scott Frost and saying, hey, why don't you give us a look? And seeing if you can get him, because what he's done in 2 years at UCF is pretty impressive. And maybe it's another one of the things where maybe it's like Tom Herman, where the resume is not necessarily long or extensive enough to really make a call like that. But I think I'm definitely giving that guy a call. I just wouldn't necessarily concede him to Nebraska. If I'm Mississippi State, I'm giving Mike Norville a call. He's coaching in Memphis, for Christ's sake. It's right across the Mississippi River from Mississippi. You should be able to offer more money than the University of Memphis can.
Hey, Ole Miss is rolling.
Calling him.
Yeah.
If I'm Tennessee, I'm going to say I think you give Kevin Sumlin a call and you pay him whatever it takes because, I think he's a guy that can really kind of fix a lot of your problems quick, and I think your problems are twofold. One of which is it's recruiting. I think that was probably the area more than anything where Butch really whiffed on. He'd bring in these recruiting classes, but he either really didn't evaluate these kids effectively or he horrendously underdeveloped them. Either way, I think that that talent deficiency you've got going on there, I think Kevin Sumlin can probably rectify because the guy was a very stout recruiter. I think he can also give you a really good offensive show in Tennessee. Again, Tennessee football hasn't looked exciting in a long time, and you need that, right? At least to put people in the stands so that the hillbillies can hold off in the moonshine until at least till the end of the game to celebrate, rather than going home and just drinking, themselves into depression because alcoholism is not good. All right, alcohol abuse is a little different. Just because alcohol abuse can really be like you're having a good time. Alcohol abuse is just systemic in society. We don't need any of those hillbillies. Lord knows they got enough challenges in their lives with having to wear shoes and shave when it comes to getting jobs.
Damn.
Hey, they need a good football program, so that they can achieve something in life.
Hey, I want to throw this name out that everybody's forgetting about out there, and he's sitting there, and he's got experience, and he's got a national title. You know where I'm going with this, Nate Dogg?
Les Miles.
Les Miles, the Mad Hatter, sitting there. I want a job, commentary. Well, I forget which one. How about him, man? One of these jobs. He'd do great. Hey, Arkansas, Mississippi State, he'd do great there. Turn around. Why not? I think somebody said he's 63. Other than that, he's still got a little gas left in the tank.
How old is he? 63?
I think he's 63. So he's still got give a good 2, 3, 4 years out of him. At least turn it around. At least help recruiting. Hell of a recruiter. Sean, 2007, you got your natty, got your ring.
With Nick Saban's players, but
yeah, but still got one. Still competitive.
And with Jimbo Fisher as offensive coordinator.
Jeez, man.
I mean, honestly, no. Here's the thing: he recruited some great players, no doubt. But he also there's a guy named Corey Rain, the back coach down at LSU. He might be the best recruiter in all of college football. And if you follow 247 rankings, LSU is always getting themselves some 5-star defensive backs. So I don't see him really leaving LSU. I mean, he seems happy working for Sling Blade. So
Sling Blade?
I don't really know. I don't know.
Water Boy?
What's that?
Water Boy? Aldron?
Water Boy, Sling Blade, same thing. Yeah, Lush Mouth, Marble Mouth. I don't think you're going to be able to get that guy to leave. LSU and the great Cajun food to go up there with some cracker-ass hillbillies to drink moonshine. You know what I'm saying?
Nate Dogg, any thoughts on that? Why is Les Miles not getting looked at? I mean, there's obviously jobs open.
Because he's an idiot. You have the world by the balls. I mean,
I don't think
players. LSU has more players in the pros than any other program, and the guy was like a 7-5 coach. Now, what do you think he's going to do with those hillbilly kids over there?
Not Tennessee, but Mississippi State or Arkansas. That'd be an upgrade. He can do well. Hey, Houston Nutt would probably come back.
Wow.
Honestly, Houston Nutt, to me, deserves, I think, human being of the year because never has anybody ever come back and, gotten revenge on a university the way he has against Ole Miss.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. All right, so everybody has short-term memory in college football. How many seasons do we get before Hugh Freeze gets a look? Hugh Freeze.
Maybe as a coordinator.
Yeah. Go to Texas, El Paso. Hey, remember the guy a long time ago?
Probably has to start off as a little position coach first, and he can work his way up back to a coordinator.
Dude, he might pop up with offensive coordinator or something with the Panthers or something, man. He could pop up with there, the pros.
Is he that good?
No, I don't know. They put up some points.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard someone throw out this name for Mississippi State job. Mike Schuler.
Ooh. Hey,
Oh God!
hey,
Like honestly,
hey,
like
roll Tide.
yeah, exactly. Like ask Alabama how that went.
He did get you 9 or 10 wins one time.
I mean,
Hey.
I don't know
Yeah,
how reliable it is, but I heard somebody throw that name out for Mississippi State's job.
Hey, you know what that means, Nate Dogg? You're
Mississippi
getting
State's
Ken Dorsey as your OC.
Mississippi State's gonna call Mike Norvell. I don't know if they'll hire him, but that's a call they're gonna make. I think it just makes too much sense.
Putting up some video game numbers. Memphis.
Yeah, and the other thing is you pretty much got Ole Miss on the, they're pretty much on probation from now until the rapture. So, I mean, you really should have an excuse being able to get players to come there.
Okay. All right. Hey, anything else you want to get off your chest on the coaching rumors?
No, I think we addressed them all.
Any other good rumors out there, Nate Dogg? Anything like really way out there?
I mean, all the juicy ones got addressed. But I don't know. I think I didn't know the thing about T. Martin. His wife's a big, has something to do in the entertainment industry. But I figured with the way things are going, I mean, it's going to be difficult for someone to take that job. I would, in my opinion, I think he'd be the front runner.
I think he did great. Still younger, too.
Why, though? Why?
Because they want somebody with Tennessee ties.
Yeah, and I heard Cutcliffe and Peyton Manning's not happy with the whole coaching search. You know, Peyton, he's been sticking his head in hospital.
I don't know how true this is.
Well,
but I really hate to play Travis, but they said Jason Witten will quit right now to take over that program.
Jason Witten?
I don't know how reliable that is, but that sounds way too ridiculous of something that would happen.
Tennessee.
I mean, honestly, though, and maybe Peyton Manning's part of the problem then, in that he needs to realize that job's a fucking disaster place. I mean, and just I think what you need is there's too much risk with that. He's an assistant coach. I don't know if he's ever called plays. So then all of a sudden you want to sit there and turn your program over to him? Why? Like, you have no idea if he can coach or not at that level.
Hey, I think he holds the bench press record.
That's a good point. Like, who right now, the way that fan base acts, like, what guy would want that job?
Get paid, though.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, here's the thing. That's probably, unless if you can convince Cade Mays to come back and you can get some receivers to, you can get Alton Taylor, whatever the hell his name is, to recommit and get a couple of other receivers. Like, it's going to be a rough couple years for you in Knoxville anyway. So I think you kind of need somebody who can at least just, get you moving offensively, get some players in there, something like that. Like, and you got to realize, like, Nick Saban's not coming, through those doors or anything else. You need somebody who can give you some respectability now. Again, he might not, he might not be SEC East championship material, but, like, he's bowl material at least, and he's like, top 15 recruit class material. You got to be happy with that.
You talking about Sumlin?
Yeah, without question.
The thing about Sumlin is, how's his buyout work? Because I think he gets the whole $10 million after 60 days.
Hey, I was reading on.
I mean, I think that's what. Well, I think that's one of those things, though, that, like, if you're Tennessee, you just need to pick that up because, I mean, if you wait 60 days, like, you kind of screwed yourself with holding on to Cade Mays and some of these other kids.
So, I mean, that's the case. I mean, I'm pretty sure he don't mind sitting the whole year out, collect that money.
Yeah, well, and I think that the other issue with him in Tennessee is I don't know how he feels about growing out a beard and, not wearing shoes anymore.
Will that fan base react kindly to his hiring, if you know what I'm talking about?
Well, I mean, I don't know. They were about to hire T. Martin, right? They got the same paint job.
Hey, I'm gonna throw a name at you. Reading on here, this is on one of the rants. We'll end with this. This popped up. Could be pretty good for either one. Jeremy Pruitt emerging as candidate for both Mississippi State and Tennessee head coaching job. That's interesting. What do you think about him?
It's about time that guy gets a job.
I would love that. I would love that, and here's why. Like, I think he's proven
he can recruit
that,
too.
Unless if he, not really. Did you see where Alabama's recruiting class is at?
Look what we did at Georgia. Like, he got us that indoor stadium. Indoor stadium, Sean. How dare you?
Well, honestly, like, I don't know if Mark Rick will give him like a job endorsement after he talks him his job at Georgia. But
You liked him, though, Sean. You got to admit it. He did work. That 2014 recruiting class was good. You got to give him that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said the right things. He was coming off of the national championship at Florida State.
Might have been banging some young girls.
I think he had a very talented team at Florida State as well that he was able to do that. I think over time, though, the luster kind of wore off with him. I don't think he's mentally stable enough to be a head coach. Maybe lacks some maturity issues as well. Maybe they give him a chance, but anybody that gets into that many confrontations with your head boss, man, you got to wonder if at some point it's going to come down to you and the AD. And let's be real, I kind of feel like he was a bit spoiled at working for Nick Saban in terms of the luxuries that were afforded to him. Now, granted, it seems like George has actually started to do the same thing with Kirby, maybe because he asks nicely, unlike Pruitt, and actually has the balls to ask, unlike Rick. But, Mississippi State's not going to have the same level of, privilege or money to throw stuff at that. I mean, you're going in year out, with a disadvantage. Mississippi State fans understand that. They're super supportive of their coach. He ain't turning that thing around into a national championship contender. I mean, he's just not going to. And so I wonder if he's mentally stable enough to be able to tolerate that.
Here's another name real quick I want to throw out. Why he's probably getting looks. How about Mike Bobo?
Oh, yeah. That would be an amazing hire as well because, honestly, the vaunted Mountain West Conference he plays in, they're just full of killers out there.
Good recruiter and offense coordinator, Sean.
Other than Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, or the great bald offensive genius Mike Bobo, they would probably be going 10-2 every year. Why he's getting looked at, I mean, the guy's a really average to below average head coach, being completely honest.
How dare you?
I'll give this to him. If you get him talent, he can put together a good offensive game plan. His problem is he lacks the intelligence as a coach to be able to win with what you have.
Hey, Sean, here's another thing to throw out. He ended up 7-5 this year. I think that's his third straight 7-5 season. So it'd be interesting, basically average. Last 3 years, 7 wins.
Well, yeah, I read somewhere where he got a little confused. Maybe it's being from South Georgia where he thought the point was just to play. He thought the point was just to play 13 games. He didn't realize that winning them was as important. So
you take yourself to South Georgia now.
Dang, man. Hey, that's where I'm from. I'm in the middle, but that's getting close.
So he kind of realizes that it would be better if he scored more points than the other team more than 7 times a year. He's really going to buckle down on that in the offseason.
All right, I might end with this.
Maybe in Knoxville.
The greatest.
I mean, I don't like this new world where if you don't win 10 games, you get fired.
3 and you're out.
Arizona State just fired their coach Todd Grantham. What kind of program are they trying to be? The guy just won 9 games a year until this year.
Well, I mean, Nat Dogg, you've been to Arizona State before, right?
Yeah, beautiful campus.
How are the women out there?
Heard the women are great. Smoke shows.
Well, here's my thing, though. Honestly, if your women are that hot, it should not be that hard to recruit to Arizona State. You have every right to just be living with only 10 wins a year.
I mean, yeah, but I'm sure there's hot girls at USC and UCLA also. Arizona probably has their share.
Honestly, I don't know about that. Those are really hard academic schools to get into. I'm sure they've got some hotties there, but they're uber competitive girls. I think they're spending a lot of library time. They've got some bags under their eyes. They aren't they're out there to actually change the world, not to marry a football player. You know what I mean?
Tough one. All right.
I guess you could say the same there too at Arizona State.
Arizona. Okay, and then
I don't know.
The coordinator hire of the week, which is great, even for us. Todd Grantham, defensive coordinator to Florida. Love it. Sean?
Well, and this may be the first questionable move of the Dan Mullen era because you had a pretty good defensive coordinator to me and Randy Shannon. I mean, again, I get that they weren't all that impressive this year, but you had a lot of turnover from last year. You had terrible offense. Those two things are going to be related. I don't care what you say. If you really can't move the ball and give your defense a break, you can give up points. Ty Grantham, to me, he's just always going to be known as the guy that, he can rush the quarterback, he can sack some, and if you give him a roster like full of NFL caliber players, he'll play respectable defense. But best of luck when it comes to developing anybody of substance there. I mean, that's just not in him. Now maybe he's changed some since he was at Georgia, but I'll never forget. Trey, I think you can probably agree with me on this. Just the sheer level of confusion we would see game in, game out from guys not really knowing where they're supposed to be. I mean, these are high school kids.
Yeah.
Complex
playbook.
Most of them are going to school and trying to better themselves. I mean, you don't need to be throwing out, an NFL caliber playbook at these kids. Dumb it down a little bit. They can learn something in the pros.
Well, here's going back to coaching. Another name I think that might be a sleeper. The coach at Maryland, DJ Durkin. I think he might get some calls.
Wasn't he the defensive? He was the defensive coordinator at Florida, I believe, was he not?
I'm gonna have to look it up. Keep it in front of me.
Yeah, you dumb Pollock. Look that shit up, man.
Man, I'm gonna give you a stone cold on that one. What? Who? Hey, I've heard of.
He was the DC. Yeah, he was the defense coordinator at Florida for a couple of years, and then Michigan.
Michigan. Interesting.
I mean, they're 4-8 this year, but he might.
Hey, 4-8.
Little
Great.
interest.
4-8. 4-8. And he get.
I've heard his name bandied around. I mean, he's got Maryland's Big Ten.
Hey, tell me your resume. Hey, how'd you do this, Coach? How'd you do this year? 4-8.
Jesus Christ, Matt. I mean, who's calling them? Tennessee? Hillbilly University is going to call him?
Hey, he might be 11th choice.
I think they're the only one.
I take Schiano over. I take Schiano over him, whatever his name is. Jeez, 4-8.
I mean, Gene Chisholm had a bad record.
I mean, honestly, I never thought I'd say this, but I think Mike Bobo might be a more respectable hire than that.
Hey, I think they'd
Trey,
take.
edit that out the podcast.
Wow. No, you got to throw that in. That was great. Hey, I think they would take Lane Kiffin back before him. To be honest.
Does my man have a chance to get another job?
You have no idea how good my heart. I have no idea how good that would do my heart if Tennessee hired him back because, just the sheer level of bravery and lack of.
Hey, here's the thing.
Make that move.
They might have him banging hillbillies up there, Sean. He might get in trouble with the ladies.
Administration say.
He's divorced now, right?
Yeah, I mean.
He's down in Florida. Florida Atlantic? Is it Florida International?
University?
Yeah, Florida Atlantic.
Look up. Yeah, either way, Nate, look up where he's at and how good their program is this year, and that will tell us a lot about.
I think Kiffin actually they had a decent. I
think they're like 9-3.
Yeah,
this
decent,
year.
Man.
They're on a win streak after they took some bumps early in the season.
Hey, putting some points up too. I think from what I heard. I think they were 2-8 last year. Nate Dogg or Sean. That's pretty damn good. I mean, they were god awful.
I mean, I don't know if is he really that willing to bump from the program after a year?
I think he was getting 1.3 at Bama, and he went down to like 850 or 750. If that tells you anything.
I'm really surprised he took that job in the first place.
I think he wanted out under Nick Saban was rag. I mean, I've heard he'll grind you out, man. It's intense.
Why? Nobody else would have.
There's a reason why Kirby stayed there 9 years, man. The grind is real. They're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Well, the Kirby I mean, well, here's the thing with Kiffin. Now,
Kiffin. Can you hear him?
I don't know. He's breaking up. We need to go to another part of the house.
Hey, poor interference. I'm gonna have fun with this editing.
For a couple of years.
AT&T.
You know what I mean? I don't know though, but I heard part of the issue with one of the reasons Kiffin left, and it wasn't disclosed until later. Apparently, because the whole touching cousin things, it's part of the culture up there. It's not really talked about, but it is.
Man,
Well, apparently, he, I guess tried to touch Big Orange cousin, and Big Orange didn't really appreciate it, so he had to leave on short notice.
All right, on that thought, hey, anything you want to get off your chest, guys?
Yes.
Good.
Here, Tennessee, I'm kind of clowning you a lot, but here's why. You're acting like ass clown. Just make a smart hire. Let's get off the pedal that, you're USC, Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Alabama, because you're not.
Yeah. Second tier program.
You're maybe a top 30 job. You're maybe a top 30 job, and so you need to hire a top 30.
Hey, supposedly reading on here, Mike Gundy said he needs a raise, and he'd be really interested. Mike Gundy to Tennessee.
Well, hey, they finally get some offense there.
Exactly.
Sean said it best. They definitely would be excited if that happened.
Slaying around.
I'm sure they probably like his mullet too.
Yep. Hey, that fit right in the hillbilly land. Knoxville. All right, guys.
Everybody in Eastern Tennessee with their kids named Peyton, they all have mullets.
Be great. Hey, that'd be a great Halloween costume.
He's not leaving for that job.
How about
it'd be funny.
How about Stillwater compared to Knoxville? Which one's a better college town? Stillwater's kind of out there, right?
I've been through Knoxville. It was kind of
Yeah. All right, I think we're kind of breaking up. Hey, appreciate you guys coming on. That was episode 20. It's glad to bring the original Nate Dogg back, my co-host. It's good to hear from him again. And
hey, actually know a little bit about college football this time until the end.
Yeah, you did, man. It was good. It was good, man. All right, man. Appreciate it. And hey, big ones. Hope the Dogs can pull it out. And hope they can pull it out. Go Dogs. Hey, give me the rollout, Nate Dogg.
Go Dogs.
Doggies.
Nice. And we're out.